right, well, good afternoon, everyone. I think I've met most of you, but in case I haven't, my name's Ray Kaminsky, president here at Jefferson College, and once again, I'm really pleased to welcome you here to our speaker series. We have another great session lined up for you, and since we primed the motor with a gift already, well, we'll go ahead and just jump right in and let Tammy get the show started. Tammy Fadler is the living embodiment of the American dream. She came to our country, leaving behind war-ravaged Vietnam at the height of the war. And although she arrived here with only 5th grade education, today Tammy is a college graduate. One of those colleges was a little college in Hillsborough, wasn't it?
I think so.
All right. Yeah, she's one of our graduates. And she may not know this, but I actually mentioned you in our graduation speeches last year. So you got fame that way. And she is the president of her own highly successful independent real estate company. She's an author, as you now know, and a speaker. She's a mother of 2, one of whom is with us today, and the proud grandmother of 5. Now, Tammy loves ballroom dancing, but she also enjoys daredevil adventures, of which some people think she's coming up here and speaking before you all is one of those. But she has, among other things, walked across fire, climbed up and then jumped off the top of an electric pole, and jumped off a perfectly good airplane. So I don't understand skydiving of all things. Tammy enjoys traveling around the world, and on her bucket list is to set her foot on every continent. She has a passion for excellence, and unrelenting pursuit of her dreams is an inspiration to everyone she meets, and she's here today to share her story with us, so you will help me welcome Tammy Fadler.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me all right? Well, before I start on share a little bit about my story, I have to recognize a few people in this audience. Those were my teachers. Those were my peers. And right now I had in the room with me a few, Miss Sally Borgeson, Mr. Tom Mabel, and Nancy and Lynn Walker. Yay! It was so awesome to come back to the school where you graduate. And then you're thinking, oh, the best thing that the speaker can do is to speaking in front of his or her peers. But the worst thing that the speaker can do is also speaking in front of their peers. So today I'm one of the both. Most people say, well, Tammy, why you write the book? And what you're hoping to accomplish? So that's a little bit we're going to discover today. Now, before I get started, I think most of you who know who I am in this room? Who don't know who I am in this room? Who don't care? Given that say, now let's get acquainted. I'm sure most of you know each other, but I have a little short exercise. I'm going to start it off with this. I'd like for you to pick one partner next to you, across the table from you, doesn't matter. Everybody pick somebody. We ready? You got your partner? Now I'd like for you to do one thing. Put your finger up. Now you're pointing at your partner. Now you repeat after me. I am so glad, that I don't look like you. So, if you like, I hear this all my life. You all look alike. We can tell you different, so let's get that out of the way, I have 3 objectives today that I want to accomplish. The first one, I want to share my story with you and my why I do what I do. The second one, I want to share my BS. Now that called belief system guy, and my purse. And then, what I'm really hoping for, I may influence you to discover your why and finding your own pearl. Now, I may never know who I influenced, or maybe my story will take a little further, and you take that and you influence someone else. Because of someone else that I am stand here in front of you, honor and humbling to talking to you. Because the journey hasn't been easy, but it's been very rewarding. With that, most of you know that I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I always say to my children, you know what? If I know grandchildren this much fun, I'll have them first. I'm a real estate agent. That's what most people would know. But what you don't know, like Dr. McSkinny talked about, I'm an author. This is something kind of different. I'm a speaker. And this is the kind of thing that I do. And some people say, why you do such a thing? You never know what you can do unless you get out there and do it. Because what I discover in this process is how far limit can we put ourselves and how much we can accomplish. And I am very blessed. Do stuff like this and this. But here where I come down to, I love this quote. It said, we cannot teach people anything. We can only help them discover within themselves. So where this all started for me, many, many, many years ago, I was a very smart child in the village. This is my why. We're going to get further than that. You chase a little fish pond. I grew up used to sell fish in the marketplace. I remember, I go back a little further. I was third grade. I was in school. I was so excited. I have a teacher. I love my teacher. I love school. I was in third grade. And then school ended in the summertime. But then my teacher, I get to adore this guy. And he just like he said, if anyone wants to have summer school, I will have class between this day and this day. With a little fee, I will be happy to teach you and prepare you for fourth grade. Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait, and then I go home, I don't have any money. Back then, we barely have enough food to eat. I remember many, many days I saw mother walk away from the food table and say, well, I'm not hungry. But I knew, Mary, I knew the reason Mom walked away. Not because she's not hungry, but Teresa, because I knew there's not enough food on that table. I also smart enough to figure this out. I am the oldest of 12. The next person gonna do without food gonna be me. So I figured this out pretty quick. But I remember that, but then I said, I really wanted education so badly. So that summer, I carried a lot of water. Back in the old country, we don't have running water. You have to get the bucket, you gotta go to the water spigot, and you're gonna carry water back home. That's how you got your water. You store it in a bigger container, if you're lucky. But we do have clean water, so that's a good thing. So I carry water. I clean out some pig pens for people to get paid. And that's how I raise my money. I remember my first disappointment in life. I had this brown paper bag. I carried that with me. I squirted it up. I carried with me all the money I make during summer in that bag. I was so excited to take a bus to my teacher's house. Knocking on the door, he opened up the door and he said, hi, good to see you. And I like, oh, I make the money. I'm here. I'm ready to go to school. And he looked at me and he said, Tuan, that's my giving name. He said, Tuan, honey, I'm so sorry. The class is over. I was so busy making money, I have no idea what time of the month this is. So the summer passed by. Now, that's one of the little disappointment as a child. So then we all say, well, yes, oh gosh, so bad for her. No, but look at in this room, many of you have many different disappointments. So how do we deal with this disappointment? Where do we go from here? I'm very fortunate. I count myself as a blessing. I always say one thing, Cinderella, you think you got something. Let me tell you, girl, I got more than you think. I found my glass slipper a long time ago. But the all thing with that little step along the way, I learned how to sell on the marketplace, selling those fish. Actually, this picture taken this year when I go back to Vietnam with my son and my grandsons. But the funny thing, 50 years later, they don't change. That's what it looked like 50 years ago. Mother sell those fish. She put one of those in a little bowl. She gave it to me. She told me how much I need to get for this fish. And I hate to tell you this, but I lie. So I went to the bed and I make a sob story, Betty, and I say, my brother's sick or something. I don't even know what I say back then. But I make up some kind of story and I'll sell these fish. And then I started out with $13 and then we negotiate back and forth and we end up with $10 with that, what I need out of this. But I'll get anything more than that is good. So that's where I learned my negotiating skill, way back when. But the thing all come together in 1967. How many veterans in the room? Okay, 1, 2, Mr. Walker and, let's see, George, Ronnie. In 1967, I was 16 years old. Now, we poor, we don't have anything, but Mother always managed to make sure that we have one new outfit for New Year. We celebrate New Year by Chinese calendar. What I have, Mom gave me this new outfit, and I hug this, go to bed with that. I cannot wait till the next morning to put in that new outfit, Virginia. Because you know what? I have the motivation. I'm going to tell the boy next door how good I look. I have a mission. But in the middle of the night while we were sleeping, I will wake up with stalling noises, boom, followed with another boom. And then all I heard is Mother and Dad's voice, get out of the house, get out of the house, you have to go. We all got out of the house and we ran. We had no idea where we're going. We had no idea what we're doing. It's like a herd, you just follow. And then while you're out, there was another noise, and then the sky lit up. I fell, and I lay in this mud hole, looking at the sky as all lit up. For the grace of God, no one stumped on me, and I don't know why. I disconnected with my family. They move on, and I'm in this hole. But what happened, I look, and the people just keep moving. And I'm like, this is really weird. And then I hear another noise, another sky lit up. And not too far from me, like maybe from here to Tom, somewhere in that range, I saw something look really very familiar on the ground. And I'm looking, I keep on squeaking my forehead and looking to see who it is. But what I discovered, there was another sky lit up, and I looked down. And this person looked like mud all over. But then when I looked closely, that's what the boy next door. And there wasn't really mud that covered him, there was blood that covered him. That moment is the defining moment of my life. I have decided life has to have more meaning than this. I deserve better. Our family deserves better. So Life move on, mom come back, mom and dad come back and drag me out of the hole, and we move on to the shelter. That was the 10th offense. Now, I discovered not too long ago when I wrote the book, actually, because my co-writer, she do all the checking, the points, and make sure all the day be gone up. This is a memoir. So they have to do what we have to make sure all the facts, it adds the facts, because it credibility, integrity of the books. Which I keep on telling her, say, Carol, that's 1967. She say, no, Tammy, everything I saw in 1968. And I say, no, it's 67. I argue with her, Vicki. And she said, no, I researched it, it's 68. We discovered about 2 or 3 months down the road when we argued back and forth about the day. What happened to me, I go to bed in 1967. I never woke up to 1968. So in my mind, 40 years later, it's still 1967. Because I never get past that. I was frozen that particular time in my life, forever changed at that moment. Fast forward, I work a little bit about what I do back in Vietnam. I sell fish, I do everything else. I had a wonderful opportunity. I went to work for the Army, U.S. Army, because I discovered they pay more money. I started out doing the dishes, washing dishes, mopping floor. And I always say, I'm the best dishwasher you ever meet. This is it. But I got a job with them, and this is one thing that happened. I've been in the job about 3 months. So then March, what they say, they call me in the office. I'm like, what do I do? They say, no, you gotta come to the office now. And I don't speak English back then, so that's an interpreter telling me what I would say. And what they say was, well, we have to let you go. I said, what do you mean you have to let me go? I'm a good worker. What's wrong with me? And they say, well, nothing wrong with you, except you're only 15 and a half. You have to be 16 to work for United States Army. Monica, I tell them, I say, no, I'm 16. They say, no, you're 15 and a half. I say, no, I'm 16. They say, no, your birthday in December. This is July when you got hired. I say, you're 15 and a half. I say, well, in Chinese calendar, when you're born and the new year comes, you're 1 year old. That's the way it is. So I passed that, so I'm 16. They say, but you work for the Army, and the Army rule you 15 and a half. I say, well, you're not in the United States, you're in Vietnam. And they all look at each other, and they're like, well, I guess she had a point. So they make a deal with me. You stay. But the one mistake, you're out of here. Well, of course I don't make that mistake. So I continued to work with the Army from 1967 until 1972. And when the Army shut down the post, they transferred me back to Saigon, stayed there to February 1973 when we shipped the rest of the GIs out. That was my last job, to get them out. And then October 1973, I have the opportunity that I have to make a decision. I have to change the course of my life. Where do you want to go? You have a choice to go to Thailand, or you got a choice to go to America. I have no idea where America is. I have no idea how big you guys are. Everything we do, we make a decision based on pain or pleasure. Mine was motivated by pain. It wasn't pleasure. Mine was motivated by pain. And that's what I do. But I got the opportunity to come here. Because what I discovered, and here at the college, so here's the deal for me. What I discovered back then is when I left the Army, I come back home to my village. I am no longer fit with my friends. My association with America, my growth have changed. I can no longer fit. I come back home, I do the best I could, but I can't. I don't fit in. So I stay home from February until October, do whatever thing I can do. But opportunity comes, and I realize also under Kurt, I realize my association with the Army will harm my family, Mr. Walker, because I knew Somehow we all knew the instant no that when the American pulled out the oval of the country. But none of us really have enough nerve to say it. I realized that very early on, so I have the opportunity, I say, I have to get out. Two things. Number one is I'm the only ticket for my family to be out. Number two, if I stay there, they'd be harmful. So I got to make the decision. So the decision come, I cash everything I have. I kept $10. Exactly what I have, $10. I have a little suitcase with all my clothing and belonging. I left home with a 5th grade education. Here with me was a dream and a one-way ticket to the wrong city. To hear the wrong city ticket. I got 24-hour traveling. Had no clue. Very little English at the time, still broken English. A lot of English I learned with the GI. I can't repeat it. Really get me in trouble. Really get me in trouble. But the first thing we learned too. So, but I got here and I got to San Francisco and I said, where do I go? They point, the gate. So I followed the gate. Got in the plane, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, get off the plane, make the phone call. All the drill. We'll be there in an hour. I waited, nobody showed up. Betty, I waited, nobody showed up. And I called again. We'll be there in an hour. That was 7:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the afternoon, still nobody showed up. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with these people? I don't look like anybody else. Can you tell? I got a Vietnamese dress on, and I'm like, how can you miss me? But here's the funny thing. I saw this thing go up, go down, and disappear. I'm thinking, I never see that before. Called the escalator. Then I saw all the people go in and out of the airport. Let me tell you something. You think we all look alike, because you can't tell us different. When you stand at that airport, from my point of view, you all look alike. Because I can't tell the difference. Then somebody come, say, about 3 o'clock, and say somebody at the airport saw me standing there, and I must have really scared, because by that time, I have less than $10. I spend money for a cup of coffee in Philippines, and I got about $8, $9. I don't even know what I got left. He said, well, where are you going? I say, I don't know. People are supposed to pick me up. So he said, let me see your paper. I hang him the paper. He said, stay right there, I'll be back. And he come back and said, come with me. At that point in time, I go with anybody. I was scared. What he did, he said, well, come with me. So he took me up at TWA office. What I discovered, I was in Baltimore, Maryland. And I supposed to be in St. Louis, Missouri. How do I know? I think you only have one airport because that's all I have. I didn't know you have so many. But that's the wrong tickets. Then finally they say, okay, we're going to send you back to St. Louis. And I did. They sent me back to St. Louis to meet up with the people. My first job in this country earned me $6.18. I never forget that. $6, the first $6.18 check that I got. I'm so proud of that. I used the $6 to pay for my gas for the week, for the driver and the transportation. What I had left was 18 cents. I remember walk by the dime store way back then and look in there was a candy cost 10 cents. And I can't part with my 18 cents, so I walk away with that candy bar. So I do all the job, all the sewing job, all the cleaning job, working in the restaurant, and I got one of the most wonderful jobs that I find out called short order cook. I'm looking at myself, I said, well, can't you call them something else? Why do you have to make fun of short people? But that's the title, and I'm like, okay. But I worked in that job for many years. And then during that time, I realized that in order for me to go anywhere, I have to have better education. Fortunate enough for me, at the time we lived in Baltimore, Maryland, or Fort Meade, Maryland, and the father of my children is actually in the military. And they have a lot of classes in the military that teach Oriental and outside of English. And Miss Sally, I'd appreciate it, English as a second language. I go every night. I'll learn everything that I can learn about English. I have such a trouble sometimes pronunciation. Like one time I learned the word threat. I cannot say that for many years. Finally, there was a teacher from Mississippi. She goes real slow. Threat. And then she taught me how to say that word. Finally, now I can say that people can understand what I say. But back then, I don't even know what I say. Then he decided he's going to retire. And we need to come back home. At that time, I was blessed with my daughter. I was pregnant. Her name is Virginia. I was pregnant with her. I'm 3 months pregnant. And I'm thinking, I know nothing, BJ, of raising baby. I'm like, oh my God, and I am carrying responsible for this called baby in my stomach. I look at him and I say, I don't know what we're gonna do. But I say, I think we gotta go back to Festus because I don't know how to raise a kid. I really don't. I was raised to be on the market, do everything I need to do. I know we have a lot of brother and sister, but it's a little scary to me at that time, at 23, to thinking about raising a kid and be responsible for that. So I said, we need to go back to Festus. At least we got your mother. At least we got your sister. I need a little help because I have no family. I have no family, and on top of all that, in 1975, we lost the country because the war has ended, April 1975. I have no connection with my family for like 7 or 8 years. I have no idea whether they're alive, dead, anything, nothing. And here I am having this little baby. So we decide, okay, we move back to Festus. We figure this out. So I come back to Festus. Having a child, well, actually still pregnant about this big. I decided I'm gonna still continue education. So I signed up for GED class, sponsored by Jefferson College. I do continue education classes. I signed up in Festus. And I went into this class, and the librarian, Genevieve Halligan, she like, honey, I think you're gonna need a little more help than that. I said, well, what do I do? She said, well, come with me. She took me into the library. She recruiting a couple teachers to spend a little extra time with me to help me out with the homework that I needed to do my GED classes. She was my angel. She opened a new door for me. She gave me the opportunity to do what I need to do. Now, fast forward, then I signed up many more classes here. I'm about to give you a secret, but you promised me what happened in this lunchroom, stay here. I took so many classes. I have a kid, and I started working for go to department store. I do all kinds of things. But I have a really bright idea. I can go to college. I really love school. I want to go to college. So right upstairs, student center, I walk in and I say, I want to sign up for college. And there was another angel I met. She say, well, honey, oh, so great, it's wonderful. Donna, she say, oh, this is awesome, you can do this. Then one thing she asked me the question. She say, you have your high school transcript? I like, I'm from Vietnam. And she say, I guess you don't have that, do you, honey? But let me see what I can do. So she left. She went back to the back room. And she come out a little while later and she said, you know what, giving all that circumstance, we're gonna make an exception, we're gonna let you enroll. Now, I told you I got a 5th grade education. I graduated from the college. I gotta go back and get my GED. They didn't tell me what order I gotta get these papers. Don't try that, Richie. But the college has opened the whole dimension for my life that I never could be possible. Never could be possible. The little college here in Hillsborough. And some of you thank me for the book. No, I want to thank you. Because the opportunity was never given to me anyplace else. I go to school, raise kids. I work for Goldies. Another dimension, another choice come to my line. I want to change. So how do you go from here when you have some situation with change in your life? How do you go from here to here? And in my theory, it's all about choices. The choice that we make every single moment of our life shape who we become. That's my belief. I love this. It says we pay choice every moment of every day. Know that you have the power to choose. If you relinquish that power, the first person you meet that day is going to choose for you. So you have to have your own. That's my belief. And I think one person here named Hope. I love that name. Because for me, when you choose hope, everything possible. And the time when I walk into this college, I chose hope. I know I can do it. Another thing, opportunities. I think a lot of time we overlook something. I always, this is what I say. I always say, don't step over a dollar to pick up a penny. So often enough, you miss that dollar, but you come for that the penny. You're looking for different opportunities. The opportunity right in front of you today, this moment. Take responsibility. Now, some people say, well, not all about me, it's about somebody else. I say, no, it's all about you. We give what we have. When you empty, you give empty. We give what we have, so we owe it to ourselves and everybody else to be the best person we can be. That's my belief system. Every challenge provides an opportunity. My challenge with the war provided me with the opportunity here, another life in another country, and a wonderful life on top of all that. Every day is a gift. And that's why we call it the present. Because we don't know we have tomorrow or not. We don't. And I hope all people understood that. Everything is simple. I call it the KISS formula. It's very simple. Sometimes we be the worst enemy. We make it complicated. But to me, we're not. But every choice we make, that's the consequences. I'm going to get back to this. But here the rest is the story. In 1981, I was working for Goldie, as I say, and then one Saturday, I don't work on Saturdays. I'm at home with the kids. Helen Bulledge called me up to say, Tammy, I just want you to know something before you come to work tomorrow. And I said, what is it? Monday. I said, what is it? She said, well, Mr. Joe Blow no longer with us. I said, what do you mean he's not with us? He my boss. I love this man. Wonderful person. He's been kind to me. And I said, but why won't Joe be here anymore? They said, well, Mr. Goldie come down. And they let Joe go because they can get somebody cheaper to replace him. And I'm thinking to myself, he worked for the company for 20-some years. Is that what's going to happen to me? In 20 years being here? So I had a real bright idea. I got a lot of bright ideas. I got a real bright idea. I ought to open the restaurant. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I can do this. And then I think I can go borrow some money and open the restaurant. I look around at the restaurant for sale right across from the hospital. It used to be the Flamingo. Some of you know what it is. I went and I said, Nico, I know how much. I got the price. Then I go to one thing, I go to the bank. Now that's what we do when we need money, right? We go to a bank. So I go to the bank and I ask him for money, apply for a loan, do all this. Well, they told me if we get back with you. 10 days later, 2 weeks later, I got the letter in the mail. I said, we can't give you the loan. And something they asked is really funny. I don't get it. Any banker in the room? Good. Because they all asked me one thing. They said, you have any money? I said, what kind of rule is this? If I have money, why do I need you? I don't have any money that way. I'm here. Well, they say, well, you got to have money. Number two, you got any experience on the restaurant? I say, no, that's why I want to open one. And I was so desperate. So finally, there was a little bank called Boatman Bank of Jefferson County. It's in Peebly. I walked in tonight. This is the last bank, the only one left in town. So I walked in and I talked to him when I borrowed some money. And what he said, well, let me get you fill out this paper, you know, here and this. And I stood up. I don't know what made me do that. Sometimes I think that out of fear, something of you that you want to bad enough come out, and that's what happened to me. I stood up, both hands on the table, look at him, I say, no. And he looked at me like, no. I say, I tell you what, if you're not going to let me have money, you tell me no now and save your stamp. Back then it was 29 cents. I said, I don't want to wait 2 weeks. And he looked at me and he's like, I don't know what he saw. I really don't know what he saw. Probably think crazy lady. But he looked at me and he's like, you want some coffee? I said, yes. I'd like to have a cup of coffee, BJ, and I want cream with my coffee, please. It's just like he walked out the room. He come back and he bring me coffee, and I sip on the coffee. And then he finally toned his voice out and he said, honey, why do you want to open this restaurant so bad? And for the first time, my emotion just come out. And I share with him about my family still in Vietnam, my mom, my dad. I make a promise that to carry that dream to get them out of that country. And I've been here many years, nothing happened. Nothing happened. I have a broken promise that I cannot fulfill. So he looked at me and he said, you really want this, don't you? I said, yes, I do. I want this very bad. So he looked at me and he said, well, you come back after lunch. And I said, what time? He said, 1 o'clock. So I'd be back after lunch. He never Lee did. Lee told me, I'm going to give you the money. He said, something in you make me believe that you're going to do this. He said, don't disappoint me. I said, I won't. And he gave me the money. I opened the restaurant. But before I left the office, he got one funny rule. He said, now you mind taking this paper home and fill it out and bring it back? I said, I will do now. So I was so happy. I got my money. I got the restaurant. I opened the restaurant. Richie would go up in the restaurant, the little kid, 2 years old, running around, do everything in the restaurant, and so did my daughter. I have my family with me. I ran the restaurant for about 6 years. And then during that 6 year, I go to college early in the morning, first, second classes, 7 something to 9, 10 o'clock. When I finish, I come back to run the restaurant and work late that night, 7 days a week. But I got my education along the process. I meet people like Lynn and Nancy Walker and Tom Abel that just embraced me and gave me the opportunity. And another professor I don't dare to admit is John White. English calm. I love John's voice. I listen to everything. So I learning from hearing what he talked and learning from him, English calm 1 and 2. That changed everything for me right here in this college. Now, restaurant doing well. At the same time, I reconnected with my family, finally be able to get the mail back and forth. And the only thing we ever say is, we fine, family's fine. So occasionally I send a little letter home with $20 or $50 in there, hide them between papers. Sometimes it makes it to family, sometimes it doesn't, but it does help. So they get the money. And the journey began for me because then at that point, I'm gonna get them out. I knew I will get them out. I gave up my citizenship, become American citizen. 1987, about 3:30 in the morning, I got a phone call. Says, Tammy, you gotta get to the restaurant right now. I'm thinking, what did you want? It's too early in the morning. I just got home from a 1 o'clock shift and I just got a couple hours sleep. They said, no, you gotta get here now. And I got in. what I discovered, the dream that I had, the hope that I had, this restaurant is going to change everything, just burned to the ground. And it was nothing but a pile of black ash, what I saw. So how do you go on facing that challenge in your life? I think somewhere we have it. We have to pull it out of us. I was disappointed, of course. And at most small business people, I don't carry enough insurance to go forward with this. I don't. So I can't rebuild the restaurant. I just can't. But see, when the choice comes, I think the one door opened, and always another one opened for me. One door closed, another one opened. And I said, well, what can I do? I got 2 small kids at home. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to drive to the city 1 hour and back while my kid got sick. It took me another hour and a half to get home. And in the morning, I had to leave for work early enough when the kids still is before they get to school. So I'm struggling and torn with all this decision. So I'm like, you know what? During the association with Lee, I learned a little bit about real estate and gambling on this and negotiating. And I'm thinking, oh, I got a great idea. I can get into real estate. I can sell houses. I can do this, get my kids off to school, stay home, go to work, be home before the kids come home, be the room mother if I need to be, and I see all the benefits being a real estate agent. I didn't see all the fault being a real estate agent. But I saw this, and then I went to local broker. This is really interesting for me. I went to local broker, and I said, I want to become a real estate agent. I want to come work for you. This is what I got. My English is not good enough. As the woman of my side, I don't have what it takes to succeed in this complicated businesses called real estate. And the third thing, no one will understand you. Here's my attitude. You don't need to understand me. There's a thing called the bottom line sign. I point the finger, you side, you get what you want, I get what I want. So I thought that I said, you know, I can do this. So I asked 2 or 3 brokers. Back then only 3 brokers in town. 2 of them turned me down. The third one is Shirley Aspart Oberberg. And she said, well, you can pass the test. I'll let you try it. Back then, you can't just go to school. Somebody have to sponsor you to go to school. So she's sponsoring me, and I went to school. And I passed the test the first time around. I know I can, so I passed the test. Because I go here at college, I have good training. I can pass that test. So I passed the test, and I come in, I said, what do I need to do? So she gave me a list of everything I need to do. So I follow that. Within 1 year, I become her top agent. Within 3 years, I become the top agent in 4-state region. And 25 years later, today, 25 years ago, in October, I've been in this business 25 years. So what I really want to say to you is don't ever let anybody tell you you couldn't or you should. Don't let them steal your dream because we can't do this. I'm going to go on because I look at the clock and I know I need to go. So here what I really like to see. We have to have within our side our dream and our goal is your why. I have my why for everything I do. And because my why is much stronger, I'm able to get up time after time to do what I need. Not because I'm smart, not because I am special. No, I think all of you special. But I had a mission. I have the mission, and that mission is bigger than me. And that fuels me to go forward. So here's a couple questions. If you get up the next morning, and you know, this is just a little quiz, but you get up the next morning, you got $10,000, and you got $10 million in your bank account, what will you do with that money? Besides, give it to the foundation, but whatever you do with that money, deed it to the foundation. Whatever you do with that money, what would you do different with your life? What would you do different with your life? That's the question we need to know. Do you have a why? I have mine. What has to happen for each of us to acknowledge our own wisdom, our pearl, and our why? What has to happen? Either we have to have a drastic situation for that to come forward, or do we always knew, but for some reason we fear to embrace it or acknowledge that? I always say believing in your dream because they are achievable. And I'm living that dream. I had a full life. You only have 6 months to live. What will you do with your time? I think you all should write a book. I think you all had a book in you. If somebody like me can write a book, you can too. Because you have a legacy you can leave behind. It can be anything. What is your destiny statement? What will your family remember? Who are you? What is your BS? What is your story? Tell it. Share it. Make a difference. One thing that I didn't say, that when I come here with $10, fifth-grade education, one-way ticket, and a dream. And as you already hear, piece and pieces. Today I'm a college graduate, a mother, a grandmother of 5. I have my own business. I no longer buy one-way ticket, I guarantee you. But I want to come back. And like most women in this country, I have more than a suitcase with clothing and shoes, and you got 5 pair of black shoes. Why you need them? Yeah, we do. But the biggest thing is the dream that I carry with me to get my family out of Vietnam. I'm happy to report it to you today. 27 members of my family live right here in America because the opportunity given to them, every single one of them, they can do whatever they want to do. I wake up every single morning and thank God to have a place called America, and for people like me to happen. And thank you, Jefferson College. I'm one of you, and I'm home.